Hello everybody, how are you all? Hope you're doing great. So welcome back to another session of learning English with me. Today I have brought a grammar plus vocabulary lesson for all of you. I'm going to tell you about two words that are commonly confused. What is the difference between both the words and how do they differ in their usage? That is the grammar point of view. So the words are these: rise versus raise. Rise versus raise. Now, what is the difference? A lot of people think that they are totally same, and there is a huge difference, especially in the usage and also a little bit in the meaning too. Are you ready to review it? I'm Shivangi Gupta, your CELTA certified English language tutor, certified by the University of Cambridge, the UK, and you're watching Speak English with Shivangi. Before beginning, I would like to request you to please subscribe the channel because you get one English video lesson every day on this channel. Also, like the video and share it with your friends too. Okay, now the word rise. See, rise is the word which means something going upward or something that is moving upward. Basically, when a thing goes from a lower position to a higher position, we say rise. For example, the balloons rised in the sky. The hot air balloon rised in the sky. The prices might rise in the future. The sun rises in the east. She rises early in the morning. So even I'm using rise to rise early in the morning. One more usage of rise is also to say wake up. When someone wakes up, we use this particular verb, that is rise. So rise is like something that is going upward. Now what is raise? Now let's review raise and then we are going to compare the both words. Raise means to take something to a higher place, right? When you take something to a higher place, from lower to higher place, that is raise. Now you will think that they both are same, but the thing is that when you use rise, you do not use any object. There is no direct object, whereas raise always takes an object. There is always a direct object. You raise something. For example, we raised the flag on 15th August. The company decided to raise the prices. So raise is always followed by an object. Okay, now let's compare both the words and let's look at what is the difference and how they differ in their usage. Now rise. See, rise is a verb. It can sometimes also act as a noun, but mostly we use it as a verb. Now this verb is intransitive. Intransitive are those verbs that does not have any kind of object, direct object. For example, sun rises in the east. Rises in the east. There is no direct object. The prices may rise in the future. There is no object, right? So prices may rise in the future. Now, if we talk about raise, on the other hand, raise is a verb that is transitive. Transitive verbs are the verbs which takes an object. Object is required. So the raise will always be followed by an object. Remember that. Raised the price, raised the flag, raised the voice. She raised her voice in order to speak loudly. If you all agree, please raise your hands. Raise your hands. Again, there is an object at the end. Raise your hands. Okay, so now we have covered this. Let's look at the three forms of the verb. Three forms of the verb for rise is rise, rose, risen. So this is an irregular verb. The first form is rise, second rose, and the third risen. Rise, rose, risen. And for raise, that's a regular verb. Three forms are raise, raised, raised. A simple ed at the end. Raise, raised, raised. Okay, now I'm gonna give you a small tip that how to remember raise and rise. Okay, consider this. Consider rise as something involuntary, that is not under your control. For example, sun rises in the east, it's not under your control. Temperature rises, nobody's controlling the temperature, temperature rises. Okay, now consider this as involuntary, that is totally dependent on the subject. Whatever is happening in rise, it's happening to the subject. Subject is not applying this particular action to something else. When we say rise, it's like, consider this as involuntary. It's just a short trick, applies most of the time, but then there can be exceptions to use it. This is just a small trick that I'm telling you. It's not a rule. Remember, tricks and rules, they are different. This is a trick. Consider this as involuntary. That's something that happens on its own. Most of the time, when you take something that is happening on its own, you'll see that rise will fit perfectly. For example, sun rises in the east. You will not say sun rises in the east. No. Sun rises in the east. The temperature rises. And if I say raise, raise is where you need to put some efforts in order to take something to the higher position. So you're always taking something to the higher position. It's voluntary, kind of voluntary. For example, raise the temperature. She raised the temperature because it was getting too cold in the room. So raised the temperature. It was a voluntary act. Okay. Another thing could be raise voice. You have to make some efforts in order to raise your voice. Raise hand. You are raising your hand on your own accord. It's not like it's just happening without your control. You have it under your control. So that's a small trick that you can actually use. It applies most of the time, but there can be exceptions too. Okay, so rise versus raise. Rise does not take an object. Raise always takes an object. The common difference between these two words. So these kind of words, like we did today, raise versus rise, these are very important part of your spoken English, because this is where we make mistake and things can go wrong or mistaken. So in order to learn this, we call this functional grammar, and I have made more such videos for you on functional grammar. I suggest that you please check out the playlist Functional Grammar. There are all the lessons such as these. For example, bought versus brought, there versus there, speak and tell, say and speak. So difference between all these confusing verbs and words. For example, to versus to, see versus look versus watch. All these kinds of words I always cover, and I create a vocab plus grammar lesson. These are called vocab and grammar combined lessons, and they are very important for your spoken English fluency. So do check out other lessons. If you have any more suggestions of such confusing words, do let me know and I'll make a lesson for you. I hope you liked the lesson. This was helpful for you. Please like it, share it. Now I'm gonna meet you tomorrow with a new lesson. Till then, take care and bye.